All right. Hello, everyone. This is Sir Adrian back here for our current game we are having of Global War 1914 titled Operation Bersaglieri. So, I'm about to get into the random events for the upcoming spring of 1914 turn. But before we do that, we have to resolve the Second Balkan War, which is currently over now. And the Ottomans won that quite handily, as I've said before. So next time I play, we'll definitely have to do things differently. But regardless, there's a few steps we have to go through to be able to resolve that. So the Second Balkan War lasts one turn, and let's continue by random events. Several peace conferences resolved territorial changes at the end of the Second Balkan War on the main map. So in terms of territory disposition, Albania is formed as a strict neutral with a militia if the Ottomans are ejected by any other nation. Otherwise, they remain Ottoman. Albania still has the Ottoman militia in it. So Albania is going to remain Ottoman. So we'll move this one to the Albania on the main map. And we'll place an Ottoman roundel there and on any other territories where it's applicable later. So Macedonia is annexed by Greece if the Ottomans are ejected from any one of the territories. So essentially any of the Macedonian territories, North, South, or Central Macedonia, they have not been. So Ottoman units in parts of Macedonia are moved to the nearest Ottoman land zone. So we can ignore that. But if, in our case, the Ottomans manage to control all Macedonian territory, then Macedonia remains under Ottoman possession. Any remaining Ottoman units located in Macedonian territory shall be moved to Macedonia on the main map. Adjust Ottoman IPP accordingly. So we have quite a few of them. So we'll keep this task force marker. So the Ottomans claim Macedonia. And here, actually, while we're here, we'll do a quick disposition of forces. So this militia as well is going to move over here, and I'll chip these out later. And we're going to have this militia as well. And this militia. So in Macedonia, and I'll update this as well in the TTS file, but you'll have 3 militia, mountain infantry, 2 artillery, 2 colonial infantry, and 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 regular infantry. And in terms of IPP, Macedonia is worth 1. So the Ottomans, well, they won't go up to 12 because they'll be back to their peacetime income, which I believe is 2. Yeah, so they'll be back to 2 currently, so we'll move them down, plus that extra IPP. So essentially when they end up going to their wartime income once again, which is 11, they'll be at 12 instead of 11. So that's sorted. So if Bulgaria remains unconquered, its units shall be returned to their original starting numbers. So I'll just do that off camera. But over in Bulgaria, I think it's 2 militia and something like maybe 5 or 6 regular infantry, something like that. But I'll set that up. Powers may otherwise keep the territory they occupy. Transfer units from the minimap to the main map for all nations, including minor powers. So the French managed to hold on to Montenegro, so they'll have their one mountain infantry, so nothing really changed there. Up in Serbia, we're going to have my 6 Slavic brothers, as well as the mountain infantry. So 6 infantry and a mountain infantry in Serbia. Bulgarians, I'll bring back these 2 militia for now, and I'll add their other units that they normally start with there off camera. So there's that. This submarine, I'm gonna stay in M7. The Greek transport, torpedo boat, and pre-dreadnought are gonna go back to M7. In southern Greece, we're gonna have 1 infantry. And in Thessaly, we're going to have 2 artillery. As well as 3 regular infantry. We're also still going to have the major port in Thessaly is damaged. With 1 damage. And the Bulgarian minor port is damaged by 3. So that one, whoever ends up aligning them, that's going to be completely inoperational for now. And then these will move back to Constantinople. So in Constantinople, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 regular infantry. We're going to have our coastal gun pointing to Sea Zone M7. And of course, the major factory. In Thrace, there's going to be a colonial infantry. Colonial infantry. Regular infantry and the airship. And the airship up in Thrace. The transport, torpedo boat destroyer, and Ottoman pre-dreadnought are still in port up in Sea Zone M10 in Constantinople. There we go. And we'll move those off camera as well. Just the Romanians back to their territory. And in terms of railroads, so we're gonna have some broken roads. So between Thessaly and well, there's no railroad to Albania on the main map. And the railroad, actually, I would say the railroad between well, I would say the one between Thrace. Well, there's none with Thrace either. No, so the Macedonian railroad between Bulgaria and Macedonia should still be fine because that was never damaged on the main map right here. So I'd say that's okay. I would also say the railroad between Serbia and on the main map, there's one between Serbia and Thessaly. I would say that isn't damaged. However, I would say that the one between Thessaly and Macedonia is. I mean, they were all destroyed. So I think, and this could be corrected if it's wrong, but between Thessaly and Macedonia, this rail link here would be damaged. Well, the Serbian rail link should be fine. So we'll leave that like that for now. You know, while I'm over here, I might as well move these over. Romanian units. So militia. And nothing changed with Romania. I just like to put it on the mini map. Their ship. And their infantry units. All right, now then. So that's all the powers moved. So minor powers are no longer controlled or aligned by anybody, aside from the ones you start the game with, of course, that being the Serbs. So I would still have the Serbs aligned, I do believe. I mean, essentially they start as a Russian territory in a way. Not exactly, but you get the idea. So spoils of war. So if the Ottomans own any 1912 minimap starting territories, and this was updated, it says aside from Thrace and Constantinople, but that should be self-evident. They advance defense in depth by 3 stages and improve logistics by 1 stage. So that's definitely going to apply. As I said, they won quite handily there. So the Ottomans have defense in depth completed now because they advanced 3 stages. And improved logistics. I'll just grab a chip for that real quick. Let you have a look of Japanese for now. So the Ottomans advance 1 stage and improve logistics. If Montenegro holds its home territory, which they do, France advances 1 stage and improved logistics as well. So France will be at stage 1 for improved logistics. So if Serbia holds its home territory, Russia advances 1 stage in improved logistics, which it does. So that might be good for me down the line, especially with all my terrible luck I've been having with tech. Maybe it's about to change, but who knows. And the British get nothing. So normally they would get something if the Greeks hold their home territory and Macedonia, but of course they lost Macedonia. So they don't get anything. So that's it for that. Quite a while to sort things out. We're good to go. So now we can roll for the random events. So we'll start with the spring. So go ahead and roll our d6. So we got a 3. So spring 1914 East 3 nationalists. So the USA rolls a d6. I could do it for them, however, as it doesn't really matter who rolls it. So on a 1 to 2. So here, actually, we'll go ahead and roll it first. So they rolled a 6, so on a 3 to 6. So on a 1 to 2, Japan would have gained +1 bonus income per turn if China is neutral or in the same alliance. If China owns Shandong, it must immediately be marked for the Japanese roundel, and Japan may use Chinese naval bases and trace supply paths using Chinese railways. However, we got a 6, so on a 3 to 6, China rejects the 21 demands and immediately joins the Allies. So there you go. So that's good for us as the Allies. So that is going to give us some specific benefits that are listed in the Chinese national reference sheet. So have to go ahead and read those, but China joins the Allies. So 21 demands. Japan issues a list of a series of demands to China. And while we're over here and on the subject, I might as well check very quick just to list what those demands are. If I can find them. So there you go. So they, as far as I'm aware, through random events, so China has aligned to the Allies. So again, we'll make sure this is the case. But if I'm correct, so these are the effects we get. So China provides manpower, labor to its allies. So if China's allied, you do not have to pay a manpower when you build or upgrade a factory for the Allies. All members of the Allies move immediately to stage 3 of improved factory technology. So I'll go ahead and update that. And the Allied units may not enter China unless they're aligned to the nationalists. Okay, so maybe we're not aligned. Yeah, I'll have to read into that more. Because it says in the random event that they immediately join the Allies. But they're on the Allied side, but I don't think they are aligned yet. So maybe we get those benefits, but we're not necessarily aligned. So I'll go ahead and update that check on the chart for now. We'll assume that's the case, but as it said, no Allied units are allowed into China unless you're allied with aligned with the nationalists. Yeah, so we'll have to look into that more. But as far as I'm aware, we're not aligned with China yet, but they are on the Allied side. Similarly to how the Americans are on the Allied side, but technically, until they enter the war, they're not aligned with Britain, France, or Russia. So it's something sort of similar, essentially. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and roll for the West. All right, so I was not sure if we'd get this one, but there, we got a 6. So we got Balkan Powder Keg 2. So the prequel ends immediately. Implement 2.11 in Appendix A. So 2.11 in Appendix A. Whoops, I have this over here. So the prequel comes to an end either when the USA concludes its turn in the spring of 1914 or earlier if Germany, Britain, France, Russia, and Austria-Hungary engage in a state of war, which we're not, but we got a random, some of them are going to be. So do the following. So if the surrender conditions of any major power are met, they're not, we can ignore that. Playable nations retain the territory they acquired during the prequel unless specified otherwise by the regional conflict resolution. The starting wartime income for Global War 1914 should be adjusted accordingly. So we'll see in a minute who's at war, and we'll adjust all that. The Balkan Wars and Italo-Turkish Wars end immediately. The Mexican Civil War continues to its resolution unless it already has ended. That's definitely not over, so that's going to continue for a while yet, I think. All ongoing random events end immediately, excluding those that cause an early start to World War I. Events that cause the so essentially all the limitations are gone as far as I'm aware. So we could do diplomacy and tech all the way to the final stage now. Events that cause the USA's income to increase will be tallied for USA's starting income in summer 1914. We didn't get any of those, so we don't have to worry about that. Otherwise, the USA begins summer 1914, or when Britain goes to war with a major power at 3 IPP and begins rolling toward wartime income. So that'll be the next turns. We don't have to worry about that now. And end all restrictions for diplomacy and technology. So aside from that here, so the prequels immediately implement what I just read. The following nations are at war. So on the Allied side, Russia, Serbia, and Montenegro. So Russia, Serbia, Montenegro on the Allied side. And we're at war against Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. So the Ottoman Empire would go to wartime economy, as well as Austria-Hungary, as well as myself as the Russians, essentially. So then I roll a d6 to resolve the following. So for Greece, so 1 to 2. So Greece stays neutral for now. For Romania, we got a 5. So on a 5 to 6, so Romania is going to be French controlled. Roll for Bulgaria. So a 3 to 6, so Bulgaria is going to align to Austria-Hungary. And Italy. And a 3 to 4, so Italy is neutral. And the 4th point, France, Britain, and Germany must declare war the following turn. So in the summer of 1914 turn, they will be going to war. So it was quite the long video, quite a bit of stuff to resolve. I'll get this uploaded. I'll go in the TTS file and read through some things some more, make sure everything is up to date in terms of wartime income, which countries are controlled, aligned, and all that stuff, and what have you. And then we should be good to go for MP7 to start the German turn. So until next time.